Martin shave tests, and it's Wednesday, 3rd of December. I'd like to do a little simple honing, one stone honing on a razor which I picked up about a year ago and have done nothing with. So this one, I've only just given it a light cleaning. This is by P. Elshaw, Sheffield, England. It's a perfectly nice razor. It's in pretty good condition. It's got a couple of little marks on the scales, but really, all in all, not a bad razor. Almost entirely mint, but the edge was rusty. So, been in the workshop, I've given it a light buff, but now of course the edge will be ruined. So, what we're going to do, and I've got a couple of other things to show as well. We're going to do a one stone hone, one of my favourite little coticules. So, first things first, I rather like to hold small stones in my hand rather than keeping them in their box. So this coticule you've seen before, I've seen before, I rather like it. So dry up a slurry, first things first. What a strange little slurry stone, rather uneven. Anyway, get a slurry going. That's the first thing. Second thing is, we'll kill the edge. Not that there is much, but we'll kill it anyway. So this isn't going to take long. I don't believe these days in taking a huge amount of time on anything. So, take the blade in question, draw it a couple of times, test it on the nail, and it's pretty dead. One more time for luck. Yeah, that's dead. However, it won't be for long. So we're going to use a one stone method, which is fairly thick. I hadn't bothered taping this little this little razor, for a simple reason. It wasn't quite mint. So having a tiny little bit of polished hone wear won't do any harm on the spine. Already we're getting a reasonable colour. That's the most noticeable thing. That's the one thing I love about coticles. You start off with a very pale, almost perfectly white slurry, and before long, look at that. That's grey. That is steel being removed. Little garnets hidden inside the base layer of, for want of a better word, clay. Garnets are desperately sharp, hard little semi-precious stones. Microscopic in the case of a coticule. But you can't blame the Romans for invading Belgium and taking it over, because the coticule mines, even then, that's I think their main reason. Anyway, we'll drop more water and we'll be done. Tiny bit of water. And hopefully we'll end up with a decent edge. The other thing I want to show once I've done this, because I'm not going to be long, is a wonderful little stone that was sent down to me from Mark Odom. And it's a beautiful little German stone. I have already got one, but this one is a very, very good backup. And it actually forced me to redress my original stone, which had a fault in it. So thank you so much, Mark. Anyway, I'll show you that in a minute. First things first, that's quite grey. I'd say there's a fair bit of steel come off there. So the next test is to do the nail test. If it grabs all the way, which it has, that's grabby. So I'd say that was the bevel set. Of course, this is already an almost mint razor. It's just whoever had owned it put a couple of little dings in the scales, which I don't think I can show you, but I'll try. Yeah, a little ding in the black plasticky scales. And unfortunately, the edge was just starting to corrode. So let's go and take a little bit of this, a little bit of water. So this is now medium slurry. But it's already got, as far as I'm concerned, it's already got a bevel set. So we're just refining it a bit. How long? It's entirely up to your feel. I would say don't take long. But if in doubt, always do a little bit more. So that's now very, very weak slurry. I'm really not very good with the camera today. I haven't been up long. But that's working. You get far more feel doing it freehand than doing it on a stone rest. But this isn't the biggest stone in the world, so that's fine. Right, wash that off. Pure running water now, and we'll be done. In fact, I say running water, it's not running, is it? Yeah, reason for this is to gauge the stickiness. If it's sticking, you know you're there. Yeah, it's sticking. It's a very, very simple test. Just a few more laps and we're done. So what's this? 6 minutes from totally killing an edge to giving it a reasonable hone. So I'm going to call that done. Then, here's the interesting bit. Let's put this down. Now I'm going to try, note the word, and use this. Beautiful little tiny hone from Mark. They come almost invariably in a small dilapidated box, but the one thing they don't do is they don't say the actual manufacturer, but we know what it is. It's the famous German waterstone. So there it is. Let's just see if we can put a tiny, tiny bit of edge onto that. Now this is an interesting test. You can feel the garnets, you can feel the cutting on a coticule. You won't on this. This is smooth. Oh my God. You can put soap. You can put oil if you want. These are, of course, German waterstones. Afterwards, I'll put a couple of little notes up if you're interested. But let me get this out of the way. Yep. That is good. I have an identical one. And the strange thing is, it was a blessing that Mark, out of the kindness of his heart, sent me this one, because the other one was glued, this is often the way, glued inside its wooden box to obscure the fact it had a fault. And because now I've got this one, I thought, no, I won't have that. So I took the stone out of the case, found a little fault underneath, and yeah, took it off with a diamond plate. So that is feeling so smooth. Very, very good. A big one of these will cost you a fortune. But that is really sweet. A little bit more water. There we go. Yeah, I'll put a few notes up after I've done this. The next thing, of course, is I'll give it a good strop and I'll shave with it. And hopefully I'll put that up as a video as well. Now, that's beautiful. What a difference in texture. Huge difference. I'm going to pause it so I could find my other Thuringian stone, which is slightly bigger and comes again in your typical little esher style case. Escher being a company which was almost solely in charge of getting these wonderful slates. So there it is, that's a slightly bigger one, just showing off. And there's the one from Mark. So, trick now will be to see if I can put a decent strop onto this, get the edge ready to shave with, and I shall see you shortly. Right, upstairs in the bathroom. Hope you'll forgive the odd camera angle only. I wanted to keep it the same camera angle as downstairs doing the honing. So what I've done, I've come upstairs, I've used this enormously cheap little strop, quite a few laps on it, but it's got a slightly nice coarse side, and on that side, of course, lightly pasted. So because I wanted to make this a fair test, I have given it a couple of laps on the pasted side and 60 or 70 on that side, which is the smooth leather side. It now hanging hair tests perfectly. So allow me to show you, if I can. There it is now, hanging hair tested. If I can grab a hair, I will show you, if I can. Which is complicated business. No, I can't. Yes, I can. Hanging hair test. Yep. Don't know if you could hear that, but anyway, I've done it. It does work. So the other thing I was going to show was one of my very kind subscribers wanted to know if I had any Wade & Butchers, which I do. This is a Wade & Butcher special. This one came out of America because this is a late one. Notice the square nose, very typical for the American market. Anyway, this is a Wade & Butcher late model. It's the special. It's got the Wade & Butcher beautiful logo, if I can get it into focus, on that side, and special on that side, which I probably have messed up. Anyway, so it's two Sheffield razors we're going to try. Strangely enough, the Wade & Butcher special was actually on a Thuringian edge, so I think it's sort of fair-ish. Right, we're going to quickly crack on, because otherwise you're not going to be wanting to watch any of this. Put a little bit of this strange maca root, which is aloe vera and maca root from the Body Shop. But I've used it before and it works very well. I haven't done a lot of prep, so don't blame me if this is a slightly disjointed video. This is the first time I've tried doing a honing video and a shaving video all on the same time scale. Anyway, I'll shut up. Dry the fingers, chaps. We'll give it a little go. So this is the very first time that this particular esher has ever been used, since it was discarded by somebody a long time ago. Let's see what happens. I can't really see what I'm doing, so yeah, that's good. Not a bad edge on that. Yeah, nice long strokes. Yeah, that's that side, first pass. Perfectly good little razor, this. Sounds a bit chewy, but it's not. Let's now try as a comparison on the other side of my mush with the Wade & Butcher, which is a very, very fine item. Awfully nice. Slightly more hollow ground, slightly more noisy, but it's just as good an edge.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to say which is the better. Both from the same period. I'm guessing sort of 1880, 1890 to 1920 approximately. This is very sharp. Very, very, very keen edge. My goodness me. In fact, it's a little bit too sharp. Yeah, so the Wade & Butcher I haven't used in ages, and that is still extremely good. So I'm going to give that a very good path mark. But the other one, I'm surprised, is actually easily equal the Ellis to this Wade & Butcher. Let me just try another pass very quickly, and I'll leave you in peace. Yeah, the rather square-nosed American style Wade & Butcher, slightly different hole. So to be honest with you, I think I prefer the round-nosed Ellis today, which is quite literally only just been resurrected. It was, unfortunately, sadly neglected. However, yeah, a couple of little minor dings on my skin, caused entirely by the Wade & Butcher, not by the Ellis. That's rather interesting. This is the kind of blade. I'm surprised. But it is very, very interesting. So, 2 passes will do today. Yeah. So one more time, thank you, Mark. The little Thuringian, the little esher, certainly does its job. So it's an escher edge, this is, after being lightly stropped with a little bit of TI paste, because I wasn't confident in such a short time scale that I could get it right. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and finish off. So you've seen that the square-nosed Wade & Butcher special are brilliantly sharp. Put a couple of tiny little weepers into me. Whereas the Ellis, which is literally only just been finished, is actually a very nice razor. Sheffield steel, both of them. I'd say probably about the same date. Anyway, that'll do. 2 passes. Wash it all off. So yeah, the difference in feel was amazing between honing on an escher, little tiny escher stone, and honing on the dear old coticule. For me, the coticule is not the ideal finishing stone. I think the escher is better. Trouble is, they're very hard to get hold of. So anyway, yeah, that'll do. Give it a little tiny splash of something that hurts. This John Froome stuff, Phoenix, is extremely strong. You can always tell if you had a good successful shave with the splash. Yeah, oh, you can feel that. Yeah, very nice. They're very refreshing. Seals the skin, sets one up for the day. Yeah, so there you have it. Success. Yeah, I'm quite happy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, chaps. And unfortunately, this is a long one. This is 19 minutes, 40 seconds. Martin's Test Shaves, over and out.